Hello YouTube, we're back again. This time you're going to be joining me doing something different. I'm going to be replacing 90 watt or 135 watt style fittings for 72 watt LED. That's basically the equivalent that we're using. Today's going to be the first video as well that I'm going to be using the head mount that I've just bought, so bear with us. I'll try and obviously get the best angles so that I can, but just bear in mind it's going to be the first time. There's probably going to be a few teething problems. Now that I've got the head mount, I'll be able to go into more depth with you, and I'll be able to show you me doing it every step of the way. So for those out there that have requested that, hopefully today is going to sort of answer a few more questions for you and give you a bit more detail that you're looking for. So I'm not sure how this video is going to be edited, but the last fitting that I've taken off, the footage wasn't too great of it. I didn't quite get the best angles. Again, it's a bit of teething problems with this head mount, so this is probably better for the channel as well. This is a different style of 135, as you can hopefully see there as well. This looks to be full of water, so we'll go on about changing that, and hopefully I can get the better angles for you this time. Yeah, you can hopefully see there that this is full to the brim with water, so have a wee look about, make sure all looks good down below. So I will try and drain this first with water and we'll see how we get on. Right, so I can only apologise so far guys, I'm having a bit of trouble with my GoPro. It keeps cutting out for some reason. I've drained the water out this fit, and I've literally just done it slowly, just making sure that obviously nobody was below me, and drained all that water out, and then I've taken the 135 watt lamp out. Tell you what, I'll even give you a look at that just now. So I'll give you a look at that just now. So it's just a few wee clips on the side here, and that's the state of inside of it. Obviously there's been water getting in there for years. There's a label up there, so it's a Phillips 135 watt socks. So I've drained all that water out onto the ground, and I've taken the lamp out and just re-secured that, because all my gear and connections were in here. So this is the gear tray here for it. There's somebody walking below us at the minute, but I'll show you in a wee second. So this gear literally hung on there. There's just a wee retaining clip that goes across this bit that keeps on, so you just bend that out of the way, and then you're able to take this off, and it's just these plugs, so unplug that and you can get rid of that, because there's quite a bit of weight to that. I'd say there's a good few kilos on that. So once I'm inside, put a wee knot in this cable here just now, just to prevent this cable from going down the pole, because it would naturally want to go down the pole, and it's obviously a bit of a nightmare to end up having to reflex it, especially when this flex is okay. So I've just disconnected it from in here, and it's just my live earth neutral, and then this plug would just take a supply going to my 40 cell or my short plug in this instance. So next up is, again, it's a 5mm Allen key or a T-bar, just to loosen off my grub screws. So there's one there, and then there's one there, but this one's a bit seized, so I'll see if I can get it off with just some, it's a wee bit loose just now, so it should come off. So take the bucket up and try and give ourselves a So what I tend to try and do here is to get a bit extra height on us so that we can take some of the weight of this fitting, slide enough off of it there, and then we're able just to sort of rest it in the bucket like this, and then it means I can let the bucket take all the weight of the fitting and I don't need to worry about that, just in case I do drop anything. Right, so the next stage of the process is, a lot of it's to do with getting your bucket positioned well, because again these fittings are, although they're not particularly heavy, they're quite awkward. They're quite awkward to hold it and feed the flex through all at the same time. But I'll show you, or I'll try and show you my technique for doing it. One of the things that I do is unwind these grub screws fully so that you've got access to this, and so that it's just going to slide onto the pole arm without any issues, and save you having to do it whilst the fittings in there. So what you try and do is, or what you do is, you have to lift it up, undo the clip at the front, and then lift it so that it latches, and then undo your tape here, so you undo your tape here, and then that's why I've taped these together here, so hopefully again you can see that you can just feed it through this hole. It should go through the other end without sort of any issues, and then you can just lift that on there, pull plenty of flex through there, and then you're just basically going to be supporting this with one hand, and I'll just do these grub screws up finger tight just now, just to take some of the weight off it for me. So there, that's taken at least the weight of this for me. So then what I can do is grab my T-bar and tighten these up properly. So that's that first one caught a little bit. Again, what I'll do is I'll do these in stages. I'll just give them a wee half turn each once both of them have bit into the pole arm, so that's it caught. So I'll give it a wee half turn, again another, just keep doing that till it feels tight enough. I'm starting to get a wee bit frustrated with this now. This is like my third time recording this part of the video. To anybody out there thinking of buying a GoPro, don't. They're absolutely shit, for lack of a better word. So I'm going to undo some of this and I'll go back and explain it to you. I know there's been quite a few people in the comments that's been asking for me to do a full in-depth fitting conversion. Obviously I'm doing my best here to try and do this for you guys, but today is just not my day. So what I've done is I have brought this flex through. I've cut it short enough that I can at least keep my live and my neutral inside this enclosure, although it's obviously inside a light fitting, which is classing as its enclosure, but I still feel much more comfortable with them being inside that as well. It just keeps them out the way. So So just screw this enclosure back on now. I should mention as well, obviously with this being a 1.5 flex, for my terminations in here I doubled my copper over just so that it gave it a bigger cross section area to bite down on. So my live has just went in here, that's nice and tight, and then my neutral in here, that's nice and tight. I've then brought my flex up here. There's a wee tyre up here that's provided with this style of fitting, just to secure my flex and keep out the way of this plug, because that has got a tendency to try and close, and that sometimes you get faults on that. And then I've tightened my stuffing gland or my TRS gland up with some gland pliers just so that it's formed a solid seal on that, made it watertight, and that my flex isn't going to go flying down the bolt. The thing that I mentioned in the last part of the video that didn't quite work is that I forgot to bring up an eye crimp, so I'm going to go down and do that, but I'm just a bit fed up with the GoPro at the minute, so I'm going to just do that off camera just so that I can get this video finished. Another thing that I mentioned was that this style of fitting here is just an old converted arc style fitting, and it's been obviously converted to suit LEDs, and this one in particular is obviously a 72 watt, but this one was, you can see there, a 150 watt. In my time I've seen 100s, 150s and 250s all converted to the different sizes of LED fitting that we have and regularly install. Try to think if there's anything else that I can tell you about these type of fittings. So although this isn't connected now, I'm going to go down and do that, but for the purposes of this I'm just going to show you how it works. So just tilt the lid back towards the pole and just pull that wee clip out to let it close, and this wee plug here is what makes the connections here, whether you sort of wire it to go through this short plug or photocell or not, but this is just going to be wired straight through. But it's quite good that this allows you to effectively work this side without it being live, without having to pull a fuse or turn a box off. So you just close that lid over and it's just a clip there to close it, and that's pretty much you good to go. Right, so as you can see there, that's that fitting now lit. I went along, the box is just a couple of pole lengths back in the other direction. That's now working as it should. So what I'll do now is I'll go and switch that box off, just so that this area isn't burning all day, and that's probably going to be the end of the video. Aye, so that's going to be the end of the video. If anyone watching this can please leave a like on this video, just for the sheer amount of grief that it's caused me to film it. In the process of doing this, I've been attacked by a seagull. I've had to re-record this about 4 or 5 times now. It's just been an absolute ball ache, so for that alone I'd appreciate if you give the video a thumbs up. For anyone new watching my content, again, please consider subscribing to the channel. If the street lighting is something that you're interested in, then I'll obviously be doing a lot more of that, or even if it's any of the domestic electrical stuff, I'll be bringing some more of that to the channel too. It's just can be quite difficult for filming. So I hope what you've seen today is a bit more interesting and a bit more of what certain folk have been asking for. Although it was a ball ache, I quite enjoyed obviously getting into that wee bit more detail with some of the stuff. So again, if that's the kind of thing that some of you are interested in, the more detailed videos, let me know down below and give the video a like, and then obviously from that I'll know that that is something to bring more of to the channel. So I'll see you guys in the next one, and thanks again for watching.